Let's get practical. How can you be mindful at work? Mindfulness may seem like a great idea, but how do you actually become mindful in the context of a busy, stressful workday? You have emails, phone calls, WhatsApps, meetings, presentations, and deadlines to deal with. In the middle of that, how can you apply the principles of mindfulness so that you feel more present, alert, and calm, as well as being productive? I'm going to share 5 ideas that have worked for me. These 5 ideas have allowed me to intentionally bring mindfulness moment into my day so that I'm able to de-stress, get focused when I need to, and be at my best. Because I love what I do, I often tend to take on too much, and I would find myself dancing dangerously close to the line of burnout and just feeling constantly stressed. These 5 ideas that I want to share with you have helped me to significantly come back to being a human being and to stop being a human doing. The first one is a minute to win it. I often used to say, I just don't have time to be mindful. I don't have time to meditate during the workday. And then one day I was having a really bad day. I was feeling completely frustrated and stressed, and I had a big meeting coming up in the next few minutes that I really needed to be at my best and not be reactive. So I set my phone timer for 1 minute, and for 1 minute I just closed my eyes and I breathed, focusing only on my breath. And when my alarm went off, I felt surprisingly more calm and centered, and my meeting went much better than expected. It surprised me that in only 60 seconds, I was able to completely reset myself. Doing a 1-minute meditation or breathing exercise can be incredibly effective because it gives you an opportunity to step away from what you're doing, get perspective, and recharge. Remember, mindfulness is simply paying attention to the present moment in an accepting and non-judgmental way. If you focus on your breath for just 60 seconds, you have successfully implemented mindfulness into your day. I want you to experience the power of a minute to win it for yourself. One way I like to meditate mindfully is to think a mantra or a slogan or even an affirmation and roll it around in my mind over and over again. Let's try this now. Let's use the mantra, all I need is within me now. You may want to place your hands on your heart and even gently close your eyes and just repeat internally, all I need is within me now. And I'm literally going to time us for 1 minute. Let's go. How do you feel now? Do you feel a bit more rested and centered? Like you've gone from fight and flight to calm, resourceful, and present? From this foundation, you've set yourself up to go out and do some of your best work. The truth is, and I want you to really hear this, a daily, consistent mindfulness practice doesn't need to be an arduous, time-consuming task. Even 1 minute can be immensely powerful. The second tip is the arrive practice. It's actually exactly how we started this session, where I invited you to close your eyes for a moment and reflect inwards. The arrive practice allows everyone at the start of a meeting to take a few moments to reconnect with themselves and get fully present. I know it's not the typical start to a meeting, but I hope that you experienced for yourself, even just at the start of this session, that it's a powerful and calming technique that sets the tone for more productive meetings. This sort of mindfulness practice is becoming common in companies like Google, Verizon Media, First Rand, and Anglo. They are implementing mindful initiatives in the form of mindful moments, masterclasses on mindfulness. They even give their staff access to meditation apps and even dedicated quiet rooms because they're realizing the power of mindfulness to increase productivity and employee well-being. So I encourage you, when it's your meeting that you've set up, experiment with an arrive practice and notice the impact it has on your meeting. The third tip is set yourself up for success. Intentionally build in opportunities to practice mindfulness. In my diary, instead of scheduling a 60-minute meeting, I now make it 45 minutes, which allows me to have those 15 minutes between meetings to practice mindfulness. Even if I just do a 1-minute breathing exercise, or I make a cup of coffee and I drink it mindfully away from my laptop and cell phone, it's that intentional reset that connects me back to the present moment and refreshes me. Sometimes I even put on my headphones and I'll listen to a song with my eyes closed, just giving it my total attention. I love doing that. Even if sometimes I have to go into a bathroom stall and take a few minutes for myself, just not to be disturbed. Another thing I also do to set myself up for success is to schedule one daily 30-minute focus session into my diary where I don't allow meetings, and that time is purely for me to do any sort of mindful practice that I feel like doing on the day. Sometimes that means walking around outside, noticing the trees and the sky, or doing a few minutes of stretching and just noticing my body, or a short guided meditation. There are lots of free meditation apps out there. During this 30 minutes, I close my laptop and I put my cell phone on airplane mode so that I'm not tempted to respond to messages and scroll mindlessly through social media. I'm intentional about being fully present and mindful. And I cannot express just how refreshing these 30 minutes are. And somehow I always come back to my work more joyful, more inspired, and more productive. The fourth tip is make emails your friend, not your master. My colleagues and I have often complained about our email overload. It seems as soon as you've answered all your emails, if that's even possible, you're immediately avalanched by another wave of emails all needing your attention. Email overwhelm is a real thing. I often used to dread coming back from a long weekend or holiday because I know there will be hundreds of emails sitting in my inbox that I'll need to get through. It can also be addictive checking your emails every few minutes, or worse, having email alerts pop up while you're trying to complete a task. It completely breaks your flow and interrupts productivity, making mindfulness a mythical unicorn never to be achieved. I encourage you, instead of checking your emails constantly throughout the day, set aside 2 or 3 what I like to call email blocks of time, where you only check your emails during that time in a fully present and mindful way. The rest of the time, you have your Outlook closed. This can be a real game changer. Instead of letting emails be your master, bombarding every minute of your entire day, be intentional about when you check your emails and notice how much more present and less stressed you are. I don't know about you, but contrary to what I used to think, if I don't check my emails for 90 minutes, the whole world will not collapse. Tip number 5, assess your cell phone relationship. You know when you're in a relationship and they say, it's not you, it's me, or they say they need some space? Well, I encourage you to be like that with your cell phone. Your cell phone relationship can sometimes be a bit obsessive. Let's be honest. Research shows that the average adult checks their phones once every 4 minutes. The human body has 78 organs, but these days, most of us also have a 79th organ, an external organ known as the cell phone. It's with us in bed, in the bathroom, at the dinner table, at work, on tables in meetings, next to us while we're in training. Most of us keep it close by at all times. But in order to keep our relationship with our cell phone balanced and healthy, we need to make sure that we're allowing some breathing space. That is why more and more often we are hearing about things like digital detox. That doesn't need to be a full week retreat on some desert island. It can also be just taking a break from your cell phone for a specific period of time every day, where you put your cell phone on airplane mode or in another room so that it's out of your sight, so that you're not tempted to reach for it. I came across a quote recently that says, "Life is what happens when your smartphone is charging." Give yourself permission to be mindful of your cell phone relationship and see if you need to perhaps tweak some things to help you live a more mindful and present life. I hope that these tips have sparked your thinking on how you can intentionally build in more opportunities to be mindful. Being mindful is a critical 21st century skill to be able to manage the hyperconnectivity and increasing demands of the workplace.